Hello, and welcome back to our channel, Screenplay Recaps. Today I will recap a romantic movie called Laws of Attraction, released in 2004. So let's dive into it. We begin with two beautiful ladies pretending to be buyers visiting a luxury mansion on sale. The estate agent gives them a tour of the mansion. Audrey is a lawyer, and the other attractive woman is her mother. When they inquired about the valuable artwork, the agent informed them that the landlord had earned a tidy profit from these. Actually, they are not here to make a purchase, but to appraise the worth of art pieces that will assist her in winning the case. They then go to a restaurant for lunch, where Audrey writes detailed notes for the case. Audrey is a successful divorce attorney. Most importantly, she is obsessed with winning.
I had everything I needed.
Afterward, Audrey meets her client in the office to assure her everything has been taken care of and that she doesn't need to worry. However, during the meeting, Audrey learns that a new attorney has taken over the case by replacing the previous one. Trouble never sends a warning. In the courthouse, Audrey tells her client in court that the new lawyer is Daniel Rafferty, who has never practiced in New York. Therefore, his chances of winning a case are slim. Audrey walks directly to the bathroom to calm herself. She appears to be more anxious than the customer. Nonetheless, she comes out confident, goes to the courtroom, and finds the new lawyer dozing off there. She wakes him up to go through the specifics of the case. Daniel finds her tremendously attractive and starts flirting with her. Furthermore, he will not settle the lawsuit outside of court until he has paid a substantial sum of money.
You must be joking.
Good luck.
Finally, the judge arrives in the courtroom. Audrey tells her client, Judge is divorced and very tough on men. When Judge has a chat with Daniel before the session begins, Audrey gets perplexed. Audrey begins her case by arguing that various irregularities exist in disclosing assets, such as expensive artworks. Daniel cut off by stating that these precious artworks has been donated to a prestigious museum quite a long ago by Mr. and Mrs. Harrison. He showed the attorney the signed form. He then asks for a new date for the case's preparation, and the judge grants him one. After that, she discusses the court episode with her mother. Her assistant shows up and asks her to switch on the television since Daniel is doing a press interview. Audrey asks her mom to turn on the TV. Mom thinks he's handsome. However, Audrey is challenged when he claims that the other side has little prospect of winning this case and mocks her with the snowball. She then decides to confront him and heads to his office in Chinatown. When Audrey knocked on the door, no one answered. She entered the office and began looking around, but when she heard Daniel's voice, she became frightened and dropped the papers. She thus makes an effort to maintain the status quo and uses the emergency exit to depart the building via the grocery store. She becomes so anxious while trying to flee that she even bumps into the cab. Thank God, nothing occurred. Later, she is invited to speak at a divorce conference hosted by the Manhattan Law Congress. The presenter introduces her to one of New York's best divorce lawyers. While she is flattered, Daniel rapidly enters the hallway. The presenter then briefly introduced Daniel, noting that he has experience in Los Angeles, Boston, and Chicago and has never lost a case. Audrey asks Daniel what he is doing here. Daniel replies that she should be grateful to him since he needs to replace one of his pals, and he proposes her name.
I'm here because...
Audrey gave her speech, shared her experience, and is applauded by everyone. Daniel then starts his speech by stating that divorce is the postmortem of a dead marriage. In the middle of his speech, he takes out a gadget to share the benefit of this device, like a wife can catch her cheating husband. Daniel then displays the picture of Audrey's breaking into his office. Audrey got embarrassed and left the seminar quickly before Daniel finished his speech. He is getting on her nerve, and he should be careful not to overstep.
You've never lost a big case.
Audrey comes up with an idea and visits Daniel's office to apologize for breaking into his office and give him a gift. Daniel opens the gift box. It turns out to be a fancy red tie. After that, they go out for drinks at a nearby lounge and order a unique cocktail called Huevo de Chivo. Finally, he inquires as to whether she is dating someone. Audrey responds that she dislikes dating since it's a trial marriage. Audrey asks him the same question, to which Daniel says, except tonight, to which Audrey laughs and declares that this isn't a date. Instead, it's a meeting that their intimacy doesn't change a thing. Business is business. They end up making love together. The following day, Daniel makes her a coffee and informs her that the clothes are in the dryer. Furthermore, they are up for a court hearing in the next 45 minutes.
Did I do anything last night I might regret?
They make their way to the court. Audrey argues during the proceedings that her client should get more money than agreed upon in the prenuptial agreement. Daniel interjects to say that just because his client is wealthy does not imply that he should pay more than the agreed upon sum. Nonetheless, Audrey is certain that claims must be worth more than the agreed upon sum. Furthermore, he pulls her undergarment from his pocket and reads her last night's quote to her. Intimacy doesn't change a thing. Business is business. Audrey gets enraged and shouts at him. However, the judge ruled in favor of Daniel's client. Audrey passes Daniel when he is doing the press interview. He interrupted the interview and attempted to stop Audrey. Audrey tells him he owes her an apology, to which Daniel answers as if it were the last night she offered him. Audrey said that she had let him seduce her, so he assumed he had the upper hand. Although Daniel is sincere when he explains that last night was very significant to him, Audrey doesn't seem to care and departs. Audrey eventually goes shopping with her mom. The new collection of famous designer Serena catches her mother's interest. Naturally, Audrey is curious about it. According to her mother, Serena is the wife of the Needles' main vocalist Torna Jameson. Audrey later witnesses her competitor, Daniel, marketing his book on television. Audrey is envious.
Book? Book? What book?
The presenter asks him about his altercations with lawyer Audrey Woods. Audrey appreciates Daniel's response that she is the best lawyer he has ever met. After that, they represent several clients in court. Sometimes Audrey triumphs, and other times Daniel does. They are still engaged in combat. Finally, Daniel contacts her one day to extend an invitation to dinner. She turns him down. Meanwhile, the mother shows up and invites her to the concert. She didn't enjoy rock music either, and the music was rather loud. As Audrey left, she came across a girl who was sobbing in the corner. Audrey inquired about what had occurred. The girl stated that she was fed up with her spouse and desired a divorce. Audrey reminds her that there are too many ways to sort things out. Divorce is the last resort. When the girl says that Audrey is wearing her blouse incorrectly, Audrey discovers the girl's name is Serena Thorns. She quickly handed over her business card. The next morning, she meets with Serena and tells her that Audrey takes terrific care of her clients and that Serena has come to the right place. After that, she shared her joy with the management for hauling in a lucrative fish. While celebrating, a waiter unexpectedly comes up to give her huevo de chivo. Daniel raised the glass while Audrey perused her surroundings. When Audrey witnesses him meeting with Serena, she is horribly disturbed and rushes to their table. It turns out Serena is his new client.
I read his book. Danny's what I want.
Audrey then confronts him in the restroom and blames him for stealing her to clown her. Daniel says she came after reading his book, but Audrey doesn't believe a word he says. Furthermore, she threatens him that if he goes with that client, things will get ugly than his expectation. Daniel says if she wasn't self-centered enough, the two of them might coexist not only professionally. Audrey has no option except to represent Thorne Jameson.
I think you should leave the thinking to me.
Later, they met with the clients in the boardroom to discuss the distribution of the assets. Sadly, the meeting was a complete mess. Daniel advises ending the meeting and having a separate conversation about the terms with the customer. Serena claims she doesn't require Thorne's wealth, but desires a castle in Ireland. Thorne regrettably wants the same thing. Therefore, the court ordered the attorney to travel to Ireland to gather evidence and question staff. When Audrey reached Ireland, she wanted to rent a car, but the owner told her they don't open the store on Tuesday. While walking, a car drives nearby her. She asks for a ride. It turns out that Daniel is driving the vehicle.
Where did you get this goddamn thing?
Audrey first hesitates to accompany him, but when Daniel informs her that the castle is rather far away, she hops in the car. They halt briefly to admire the lovely scenery, but unfortunately, the automobile suddenly falls down the valley. They then continue their journey on foot. Finally, after a long trek, they come across an old trailer and spend the night in it. The lovely couple learns they were too close to the castle the next day and regret staying in the stinky trailer. They immediately proceed to the castle, where the housekeeper welcomes them. Daniel wants to interview the employees again since he is not progressing after the initial interview. The manager advised him it was not feasible because everyone would be there for the village festival celebration. Both attorneys go to the event that night. They had a good time sipping traditional cocktails and dancing to Irish music. Daniel even competed in a tournament to drink 3 pints of beer in a row. He won and was rewarded with a decorative goblin. They were so inebriated that they were wedded in the usual festival marriage ceremony. Audrey awakens the next morning to discover that she has married her rival, Daniel.
You're not happy.
Do I look happy?
Daniel seemed to be quite happy. Finally, it appears as though his wish has been fulfilled, but from Audrey's perspective, it's a catastrophic error. She wants to leave this circumstance behind. When she returned home, Audrey notified her mother that she had married Daniel. Mother said drinking has a horrible impact on her daughter, and most significant, Audrey wants to keep this secret from everyone. The next morning, Mother directs her to read the newspaper right away. As a result, she runs to get the newspaper. As she opens the door, Daniel arrives holding a newspaper. She immediately blames him for leaking the information to the press. Daniel asserts he hasn't informed anybody, so he phones the newspaper to correct the story, but Audrey stops him and recommends they pretend to be married, publicly to save their careers. Daniel moves into Audrey's home, where his mother extends a kind greeting and guides him to his room. On the other hand, Audrey secures her bedroom door with a lock. Daniel approached her the next day to offer her a ring to make the wedding more legitimate. He lays the ring on her finger, and Audrey also puts the ring on his finger. They resume their regular routines by visiting the court, eating lunch and dinner together, going shopping, and finally gradually growing to know one another better each day. A piece of paper dropped from the garbage bag as he was throwing it away. It comes out that $4 million was spent at a hotel in Aspen. Daniel stated in court the next day that his client Serena had renovated, decorated, and rescued the house. Audrey claims that just because Serena installs a few curtains on the wall does not entitle her to a $3 million castle. Daniel adds that Serena should not be denied her lifestyle, especially after her husband spent $4 million on a love shack in Aspen with his mistress. Audrey was astonished by how Daniel obtained this information. In contrast, Thorne raged at Audrey for violating the client's privilege and stormed out of court. As a consequence, Audrey wants a divorce, which Daniel attempts to explain to her, but she doesn't trust him. Daniel claims he does not believe in divorce and will go to any length to keep his marriage. Audrey responds that individuals who struggle to rescue marriages must be married and desire to be married.
I'm not in this marriage to save my career.
Daniel claims he only cares about her, so he will grant her a divorce. If you truly love someone, you will have the selflessness to fulfill their needs. Audrey is speechless since Daniel's sentiments are genuine. Finally, Daniel promises to pick up his belongings later that day. Daniel drinks alone to cope with his pain as Audrey phones her mother because she is shattered. Audrey is resting in bed when the phone rings. She answers immediately, hoping to hear Daniel's voice, but she hears her mother's voice, which causes her to start weeping. Her mother consoles her and informs her that she is the one who leaked the marriage news to the press. Audrey smiles as her mother assures her that everything will be all right. The next morning, the judge orders Audrey to bring her client back within 48 hours since both parties are not permitted to visit the castle until the issue is resolved. She immediately travels to the castle in Ireland, where she discovers Serena and give up on each other. Thorne makes the necessary arrangements for the lawyer's stay by calling his butler. The marriage is insignificant since the butler is not a real priest. However, Audrey desires to be married to Daniel.
I won't stay for supper, if it's all the same to you.
Serena encourages Audrey not to give up as she begins to weep. In order to meet Daniel there, Audrey makes a mad dash. Audrey caught the following flight to New York because she arrived a bit late. While buying groceries, Audrey runs into Daniel and asks him whether he really believes what he says, fights, or does whatever it takes to keep a marriage. Daniel replies yes. After that, both lawyers are actually getting married. So that was laws of attraction. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and turn on the notification so you won't miss the next recap. Until then, cheers.